There is a very specific type of Western creator on this app that drives me absolutely insane. It's the geopolitics nerd. Case in point, this creator Fredo Rockwell just dropped a video called Aswad's Independence Movement is Back, and he literally opens the video by admitting he has no clue what's actually happening on the ground. He basically tells his audience that the situation is moving too fast for him, so he's just going to ignore the actual current events and talk about background politics instead. Imagine making a whole commentary video about a war zone and starting it off by telling everyone you're just guessing. And if you look at this guy's channel bio, he literally says he makes videos about politics, geography, and ice cream. And that tells you everything you need to know about how completely unserious this guy is. Embarrassing.
Yeah, so basically this guy is a complete shill for breakaway states, but only when it aligns with Western interests.
Hi everyone, I'm Fredo Rockwell, and in this video I'm going to try and do something a little bit different and cover the emergence of a new de facto state while it is in the process of possibly emerging. As is normal for my videos, I'm going to focus on the background issues and the politics of the FLA and Azawad rather than try and cover the military events as they happen.
To him, an Islamist insurgent war in West Africa that is currently displacing, starving, and killing real human beings is just a fun little topic to pair with a scoop of vanilla. He approaches a brutal material resource war with the exact same energy as a child reading a fantasy map.
The Russian troops in the city, there to support Mali's military dictatorship, were pushed out. And, at least at the time I'm recording this, there seems to be a realistic chance that the government of Mali in Bamako will be overthrown.
Yeah, this is just pure cope. In reality, the French are still pissed off that they got kicked out and that their propaganda outlets got banned. Ever since then, they've been portraying the situation as volatile, claiming that any of these Sahel states will just collapse any minute now, and that the situation is hopeless. They do this to make the current governments look incompetent, and as a pretext to justify military intervention. Fredo spends 20 minutes trying to convince his audience that this new rebel group, the FLA, is some organic, heroic, grassroots movement fighting an evil military dictatorship. Where did he get his deep, boots-on-the-ground analysis to back this up?
Professor Jeremy Keenan of the University of London School of Oriental and African Studies was quoted in the Los Angeles Times saying, "What seems to happen is that when they move into a town, the MNLA takes out the military base, not that there's much resistance, and the leader of Ansar Dine goes into town and puts up his flag and starts bossing everyone around about Sharia law."
Now think about how hilariously naive that is. You're trying to break down a fast-moving, multi-sided conflict in the Sahel, and your source is a decade-old newspaper clipping from California quoting an ivory tower academic? It's pure fan fiction. Where does this guy even get his politics from? Morning cartoons? Because his brain completely short-circuits when it comes to the actual material reality on the ground, he looks at these rebels and treats them like the Rebel Alliance from Star Wars. Like, he genuinely thinks that just because a group are rebels, that automatically makes them the good guys. He completely ignores the fact that they're openly allied with literal Al-Qaeda-linked jihadis from JNIM. These freedom fighters he's glazing from the safety of his bedroom are the exact same monsters who lay siege to cities, block humanitarian food aid to intentionally starve villages, and fire rockets at civilian passenger boats. I mean, listen to the absolute brain rot logic he drops next.
But what if it doesn't? What if the JNIM takes Bamako and is then happy to consolidate power in the much more populous south, leaving the FLA to rule a newly declared Azawad in relative peace? It's not a crazy scenario.
Yes, it is a crazy scenario, Fredo. You are a freelance copywriter from the UK suggesting that Al-Qaeda is just going to take over half a country and then become a chill, peaceful neighbor? It is absolute insanity. You are running cover for a group that slaughters civilians in cold blood, and you're acting like they're just going to sign a lease agreement? It's what happens when your entire worldview is built on Wikipedia articles and State Department press releases. And that's the real scam here. The French State Department and Western intelligence have a massive financial incentive to lie about Mali and keep the region trapped in a forever war. To understand what they're trying to do in Mali right now, you just have to look at how they've treated the rest of the Sahel. I mean, it's not like they exactly do a good job at hiding their neo-colonialism. Look at Niger. For decades, the West ran a total protection racket there over uranium. For years, 1 in 3 light bulbs in France was powered by stolen Nigerian resources, while 80% of the population sat in total darkness. In Mali, they're running the exact same hustle, but this time they're after massive gold reserves and untapped lithium. They want to keep these African nations weak, fractured, and perpetually running on chaos, so they're forced to accept foreign help while Western corporations strip away their wealth for pennies. But the second these countries kick out the French military, partner with Russia, and demand total control over their own resources, the media completely changes its tune. Suddenly, a regular government becomes a regime, and a fleet of Al-Qaeda-linked militants becomes an independence movement. Fredo isn't a neutral journalist. He's an unpaid intern for Western imperialism. He's out here carrying water for a global protection racket completely for free, treating official State Department propaganda like it was handed down on stone tablets. But let me ask you something. Isn't it at all suspicious that as soon as the Sahel states take control of their own mineral resources, these Islamists suddenly become so well trained? They're not carrying around old rusted AK-47s anymore. They're armed to the teeth with brand new modern rifles, tactical gear, and fleets of pristine Toyota trucks. Where do you think that kind of hardware and coordination comes from overnight? Well, the absolute punchline of Fredo's entire video comes up at the very end, when he brings up his favorite state and completely exposes who is helping them out on the ground.
There's also one other side of this very complicated conflict that needs to be discussed. Ukraine. In July 2024, following the successful Tuareg attack on the Wagner mercenary column, Ukrainian intelligence spokesperson Andrei Yusov was quoted saying, "The rebels received all the necessary information they needed to conduct a successful military operation against Russian perpetrators of war crimes." In other words, it looks like Ukraine passed on intelligence about Russian troop movements to Tuareg militias. Mali has gone further, accusing Ukraine of supplying the FLA with drones and other equipment. Ukraine has denied this, but even if it's only intelligence that's being shared, it's a fascinating example of how Russia's inability to defeat Ukraine is once again restraining Russia's ability to project power around the globe.
Oh, okay. So your precious independent freedom fighters are actively getting tactical support, training, and intel from Ukraine. And you mean to tell me these are supposed to be the good guys, right? We're talking about the exact same Ukraine that vehemently supports Israel's genocide in Gaza and wants to become a bigger Israel by Zelensky's own words. They're aligning themselves entirely with a brutal project that relies on the slaughter of families, the forced starvation of millions, and the total erasure of an entire people. And as if that wasn't bad enough, they have an enormous state-integrated neo-Nazi problem. Zelensky literally cannot post a single PR photo or release a state-approved military montage without some soldier in frame wearing a Totenkopf or Azov patch right on his chest. So let's connect the dots that Fredo's Ice Cream Geopolitics channel is too scared to touch, or just too stupid to see. You have Western-backed proxies providing the tactical training, and Al-Qaeda jihadis doing the butchering on the ground, all to destabilize a sovereign African nation so foreign powers can keep getting cheap uranium. And Fredo Rockwell wants you to look at that and cheer for them like they're superheroes in a comic book. It's pathetic. And guess what, Fredo? Real liberation isn't a talking point for some guy who got completely played by a State Department press release. It means taking control of your own resources, cutting through the media propaganda, and rejecting the billionaire narratives that keep regular people blind. The truth will set you free. But first, it's going to make you really, really angry. Stay sovereign.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Hey guys, so this is the very first video on the channel. I'm going to be putting out a lot more breakdowns just like this one where we look at these situations for what they actually are. If you want to see more of this content, make sure to hit subscribe and like. Let me know what your thoughts are on Mali in the comments and tell me what you want to see me cover next. Rest in peace to Mali's Defense Minister, General Sadio Camara, who died in service to his nation. This is what a real freedom fighter looks like.